Police find Becca's body under a concrete overpass. She is 18 years old and homeless. Detective Lucy Chen investigates the scene and discovers Becca's method of survival. Becca used a social app called ClipTalk to find temporary housing targeting residents to rob. Her last score was a luxury watch worth thousands of dollars. Becca intended to sell the watch to fund her return to school and escape the streets. The investigation leads Lucy to a pawn shop. A clerk confirms a young man sold the watch recently. The serial number matches the stolen item. The seller is identified as Declan, Becca's close friend from the streets. Lucy and her partner track Declan to a makeshift camp. They find him sitting with Becca's former roommate. When the police arrive, Declan's composure breaks. He admits to the crime as the handcuffs click. Declan describes the final confrontation. He saw the watch and wanted the money for himself. He waited until Becca was asleep to steal it, but she woke up. A struggle followed. Declan pushed Becca, and her head struck the concrete. He watched her bleed out and then took the watch to the pawn shop. He tells the officers it was an accident, a mistake born of desperation. The police do not react to his tears. They lead him to the patrol car. Becca's plan to buy a future ended with blunt force trauma and a cash transaction at a pawn shop counter. John Nolan takes his fiancée, Bailey, to a high-security prison to meet Oscar, a master manipulator serving a life sentence. Bailey has been framed by her ex-husband Jason, and Nolan needs a strategy to dismantle a sociopath. Oscar identifies Jason's core weakness, a narcissist's crippling insecurity. He instructs Nolan to devalue Jason, predicting that a blow to his ego will trigger a reckless mistake. Nolan tracks Jason to the home of a new girlfriend. In a direct confrontation, Nolan exposes Jason's criminal history and his use of illegal tracking software to stalk women. By revealing the truth to Jason's new partner, Nolan strips away his target's sense of power. Panicked and losing control, Jason attempts to finalize a $2 million money laundering deal with a cartel. He is unaware that Oscar has already intervened. From prison, Oscar informs the cartel that Jason is a police informant trading their secrets for immunity. When Jason arrives at the exchange, the cartel members turn their guns on him, believing he is a snitch. Nolan and a tactical police unit move in as the deal collapses into violence. During the chaos, Jason attempts to flee with the cash. Nolan pursues him through a concrete bunker, corners him, and forcibly takes him into custody. Jason is sent back to prison, his reputation destroyed among criminals, and his leverage over Bailey permanently erased. The operation concludes with the total tactical and psychological neutralization of the threat. Officer Nyla Harper monitors a drug dealer from a surveillance vehicle. Her focus split between the target and a growing argument with James. He demands to handle a local conflict alone. She refuses to compromise her oversight. The professional stakeout becomes a direct confrontation over trust and boundaries. During a subsequent medical evaluation for a minor injury, the doctor delivers a dry, clinical fact. Nyla is 6 weeks pregnant. She absorbs the information in silence, returning to the streets to manage a volatile debt dispute. The pressure of the job and the secret of the pregnancy collide. James confronts her again in public, pushing for an explanation for her erratic behavior and lack of trust. The argument escalates into a shouting match amidst the urban noise. Nyla reaches her breaking point and screams the truth into the open air. She is pregnant. The aggression leaves James's face instantly. The street becomes silent as the weight of the revelation settles between them. The power struggle over police tactics is replaced by a shared, life-altering reality. Later that night, the adrenaline of the shift fades into the quiet of their home. James offers a truce, moving from confrontation to support. They sit together and discuss the future. Nyla confirms she will have the baby. They form a pact to protect the new life and navigate the violence of their world as a unit. They commit to fighting every day to build a better environment, transforming an unexpected crisis into a shared mission for order. John Nolan begins his tenure as the new union representative by rejecting the established order. Lieutenant Briggs, the union president, offers a box of premium cigars as a bribe disguised as a welcome gift. Nolan leaves the box on the table and demands an email address to submit a list of reform proposals. Briggs tells him to stop worrying about the public and focus only on securing more overtime pay and benefits for the officers. Nolan ignores the advice. He secures a private meeting with Councilwoman Elena. He presents a data-driven argument. 20% of police calls involve mental health crises that officers are not equipped to handle. He proposes a pilot program to dispatch professional counselors to these scenes instead of armed police. The councilwoman, accustomed to union reps who only demand higher wages, is surprised by his focus on systemic change. She promises to facilitate a meeting with the mayor. The move triggers an immediate confrontation. Briggs corners Nolan in the precinct, waving a newspaper headline that announces the city council's vote to fund the new initiative. Briggs is humiliated that a subordinate went over his head. He reminds Nolan that a union exists only to serve its members, not the city. When Nolan refuses to retract his stance, Briggs drops all pretense of mentorship. He defines his leadership as raw power, the ability to reward friends and crush enemies. He explicitly threatens to end Nolan's career. Nolan stands his ground. He tells Briggs that the program protects officers from impossible situations. He chooses his principles over his professional survival. Italian Lieutenant Romeo arrives in Los Angeles, presenting himself as an elite officer tracking a high-profile fugitive named Kai. Sergeant Gray welcomes him, but the professional partnership is built on a lie. Romeo is not here for justice, he is here to silence a witness. During their first encounter with the suspect, Romeo draws his weapon with lethal intent. He deliberately positions himself to create a blind spot for his body cam, then opens fire. He claims the suspect was armed, but Kai manages to escape the ambush. Gray grows suspicious of Romeo's aggressive tactics. He turns to a police union chat group to verify the visitor's credentials. The intelligence reveals a different story. Romeo is under investigation in Italy for corruption and illegal collaboration with the very man he claims to be hunting. The mission is a cleanup operation. Gray decides to play along to draw Romeo into the open. Gray leads Romeo to a motel where Kai is reportedly hiding. Romeo enters the room first, his gun leveled at the target. He prepares to pull the trigger to erase the evidence of his crimes. However, Gray has already secured the perimeter. Before Romeo can execute the witness, the trap closes. Gray disarms him at gunpoint, exposing the hero as a criminal. The body cam footage and the Union intelligence seal Romeo's fate. The international manhunt ends not with a kill, but with the dirty cop in handcuffs. Gray stands over him, proving that local experience outweighs a fraudulent reputation. Police enter a residential home converted into a cold storage facility. Flashlights sweep the room, landing on a metal table where a severed human arm lies. The limb twitches, its fingers digging into the surface to drag the dead weight forward. Officers Harper and Nolan discover a microchip embedded in the muscle, bridging biological nerves with digital signals. A search of the kitchen reveals a freezer packed with 8 additional limbs, all harvested for experimentation. A representative from a biotech firm arrives, demanding the return of their proprietary hardware. But the scene remains a restricted criminal investigation. The pursuit shifts to the county morgue. A security guard is found dead in the stairwell, his blood marking the entrance to the basement. Chester Frey has barricaded himself inside the surgical suite after failing to bypass laboratory palm scanners elsewhere. He holds a doctor at gunpoint, obsessed with his dead tissue reanimation project. Sergeant Bradford and Officer Chen slide a remote camera under the door. On the monitor, Frey screams at the hostage, forcing him to begin a fresh amputation on a cadaver to harvest parts for his work. The officers breach the room. Frey refuses to surrender, claiming his technology transcends human mortality. The confrontation ends with a volley of gunfire. Frey collapses onto the tiled floor, dying among the stolen limbs and discarded medical instruments. The police secure the morgue, terminating a project that attempted to bridge the gap between life and death through stolen circuitry and dead flesh. Interrogation hits a wall. The suspect remains silent, confident that without the murder weapon, the police have no case. Detective Bradford moves the operation to the suspect's house and initiates the DEER system. It is a rigid protocol of grid-based exclusion. Every room is mapped and cleared, but the initial sweep yields nothing but domestic clutter. Bradford changes the mechanics of the search. He introduces the FST system. He forces the officers stationed outside to swap with the interior team to ensure fresh perspectives. He then turns the investigation into a high-stakes contest, offering a $100 gift card to the first officer who finds a definitive link to the homicides. The atmosphere shifts from routine to a race. A K-9 unit is brought in to scan for ballistics. The dog ignores the trash piles and alerts at a window frame. Bradford strips back the wood to reveal a hidden compartment. He finds the handgun and the stolen cash. The search is over, but the clock is still ticking. Intelligence confirms the rest of the crew has already taken a family hostage in a nearby suburb. The SWAT team executes a lightning breach. They shatter the glass and deploy flashbangs, flooding the house in seconds. The suspects are pinned to the ground before they can reach their weapons. The family is rescued. The systematic logic of the search didn't just find a gun, it stopped a massacre. Randy tracks fugitive Ivy Flynn to a private villa. He climbs into a large, ornate wooden chest to eavesdrop on a conversation. The mechanism clicks shut, locking him inside. LAPD officers discover him trapped in what is described as a client's custom sex box. Once freed, Randy demonstrates his utility to the investigation. He accesses Popcorn Pillager, an encrypted communication platform disguised as a mobile video game. By reaching level 30 in the game, he unlocks a messaging feature that bypasses standard police monitoring. He intercepts Ivy's plan to meet a forger for a fraudulent passport at the Hotel Mathilde. The sting operation escalates into a combat zone. Members of the Dead Bastards motorcycle gang arrive, armed with handguns and automatic rifles. A shootout erupts in the hotel lobby and parking garage. A biker fires a round directly into Randy's torso, sending him crashing into the concrete. He remains motionless until the threat is contained. Randy stands up, revealing a hidden ballistic vest that stopped the lethal round. He attributes his survival to high-quality equipment and statistical improbability. The fugitive is apprehended and the gunmen are taken into custody. The final scene shifts to a private residence. Randy enters and greets his rival bounty hunter, Alicia. They embrace, revealing that their professional animosity is a fabrication. They are a committed couple who use high-stakes fugitive recovery as a backdrop for roleplay. The danger and the pursuit are calculated elements of their domestic life. Jordan stands by a silver pickup truck belonging to her ex-boyfriend. He ended their relationship the moment her hair fell out from chemotherapy. She lights a Molotov cocktail and tosses it into the cabin. The vehicle becomes a blackened skeleton. She moves to a crowded diner, her former place of employment. Her manager fired her for being late to shifts while she was undergoing cancer treatment. Jordan walks into the center of the breakfast rush and opens a cage, releasing a dozen rats onto the floor. Customers scream and scramble over tables. The business is paralyzed. Finally, Jordan confronts her landlord. When she was too sick to work, he exploited her vulnerability by raising her rent. She meets him at his doorstep and discharges a canister of pepper spray directly into his eyes. He collapses in the dirt, blinded and howling. Police track Jordan to a quiet overlook. She sits on the hood of her car, waiting. She explains her shift in logic to the officers. For months, she believed she was dying, so she endured every betrayal in silence. Last week, her doctor confirmed her cancer is in remission. She realized she is going to live, and she refuses to spend that life being a victim. She decided to manufacture her own karma for those who profited from her pain. She is done apologizing for her existence. As the handcuffs click shut, she offers no resistance. She has completed her list. The retribution is absolute. Lucy sits at her kitchen table, staring at a fertility clinic intake form. To freeze her eggs, she must document every genetic flaw in her bloodline. The section for paternal history remains empty. Her mother, a successful therapist, has never provided a name. The silence is a calculated void. Lucy takes the form to her Aunt Amy, demanding the truth. Amy's resistance collapses under the pressure of the question. She reveals a career-ending secret. During her first year as a licensed therapist, Lucy's mother slept with a patient. This was not a romance. It was a professional violation. Lucy is the product of that misconduct. Lucy uses her police credentials to search the department database for the man named Patrick. The digital record offers no comfort. Patrick died 5 years ago in a high-speed car crash. The file lists no emergency contacts, no surviving spouse, and no other offspring. He left the world in total isolation. Lucy processes the data points of her father's lonely end. She looks back at her upbringing through this new lens. Her mother's lifelong strictness and crushing expectations were never about love or achievement. They were defensive measures. Every rigid rule was designed to mask a scandal. Every demand for Lucy to be perfect was an effort to drown out the mother's own professional disgrace. Lucy recognizes the reality of her existence. She is the physical evidence of a breach of ethics, a daughter raised to compensate for her mother's permanent sense of shame. A witness waits in the police station lobby. A stranger brushes past him. Within seconds, the witness gasps and collapses. He dies instantly in front of dozens of officers. The medical examiner deploys the ME toxicology system to run an immediate scan. The results confirm a high-grade biochemical toxin. The killer successfully executed a hit inside the most secure room in the city. The assault continues. A veteran sergeant travels to the courthouse for the grand jury hearing. A sniper positioned on a nearby rooftop fires. The bullet finds its mark. The sergeant goes down. While medics scramble, the police department discovers a breach from within. An internal mole has accessed the server, deleting files and physically destroying the remaining evidence. The paper trail is gone. The killers move on the prosecutor's office for the final execution. They cut the building's power, the elevators stop, and the lights go out. Assassins enter the dark hallways, moving toward the witnesses. Officer Lopez is trapped inside. She does not call for backup. She waits. She monitors the floor, tracking the intruders through the silence. When the killers move into range, Lopez fires. She neutralizes the threat in the darkness. The building is locked down. Police units intercept the mastermind, Mateo Rubio, before he can escape. He is placed in high-security transit. The attempt to erase the witnesses fails. Rubio faces the indictment he tried to kill for. Aaron Thorson pulls over a vehicle for a stop sign violation. The driver is Dexter Hayes. The father of the friend Aaron was once accused of killing. Dexter recognizes Aaron and immediately loses control. He shouts that Aaron is a murderer and a disgrace to the badge. A reality show camera crew records the entire confrontation. The producer refuses to move, calling the footage gold. Aaron remains silent. He does not use his legal authority to retaliate against the man's insults. Instead, he drops the charges and apologizes for the father's pain. At the police station, the producer prepares to edit the scene for television. Aaron confronts him in the hallway. The producer argues that the footage is too valuable to discard. Aaron states a single fact. The show is funded by Thorson Media. As the heir to the company, Aaron fires the producer on the spot. He demands the immediate destruction of the memory cards containing the raw footage. He makes it clear that Dexter's grief is not a commodity for public consumption. By destroying the data, Aaron protects the privacy of the man who still believes he is a killer. He refuses to let his friend's father be exploited for ratings. He chooses the dignity of the victim's family over the success of his own media empire. The shift ends with the memory cards gone and the producer removed. Aaron has reclaimed his identity as a police officer. French police find Aaron's DNA on a kitchen knife in a Paris apartment. They immediately label him the killer. They ignore the fact that the knife came from Aaron's own kitchen block. The crime scene is compromised by paparazzi and sloppy forensic protocols. The investigators see a young black man and stop searching for other suspects. They deliberately overlook Julian, the victim's girlfriend's partner. Julian is the son of the French finance minister. A high-level intervention ensures Julian is never questioned or treated as a person of interest. The investigation is closed to protect political interests. Years later, a secondary analysis reveals the DNA on the weapon is a complex mixture. The French police suppress the presence of an unidentified third party to secure a quick conviction. Detective Lopez re-examines the group's travel history. She scrutinizes photos of the group at private jet terminals. She focuses on Rowan. In every image, Rowan hauls massive, oversized suitcases. His simple wardrobe of jeans and polo shirts does not account for the extreme weight of the bags. Financial records show Rowan's family was near bankruptcy before the trip. Now, Rowan lives in a luxury estate and drives a Porsche. The suitcases were used for large-scale drug smuggling across European borders. Patrick discovered the smuggling operation. Rowan used the kitchen knife to silence him. The logistics of the luggage provide the final link. The forensic data exposes the smuggling route and identifies Rowan as the true murderer. Yvonne sits before the cameras, projecting the image of a grieving, devoted mother. She denies any involvement in Patrick's murder, insisting she was in Los Angeles on the night of the crime. She claims Patrick was like a son to her. The atmosphere shifts when the interviewer presents a smartphone. On the screen, CCTV footage from a Paris luxury boutique plays. It shows Yvonne, dressed in a fur coat, carrying shopping bags on the Champs-Élysées. The timestamp matches the night of the killing. Aaron, her son, and a police officer, watches the footage in silence. The realization hits him. His mother committed perjury during his own murder trial. He confronts her outside the station. Yvonne attempts to dismiss the lie as a matter of private business, but Aaron is unmoved. He reminds her that he was fighting for his life in court while she was hiding her whereabouts. Under the pressure of a formal interrogation, the facade finally breaks. Detectives accuse her of flying to Paris to eliminate Patrick. Yvonne scoffs at the theory. She reveals the actual reason for her secret trip, an affair with professional footballer Jean-Pierre Darby. She spent the entire night in a hotel room to avoid a scandal that would ruin her reputation. The alibi clears her of the murder, but the damage is done. Aaron stares at the woman he thought he knew, realizing her vanity outweighed his freedom. The case is closed, but the family is fractured beyond repair. Aaron Thorson joins the LAPD while carrying the weight of a high-profile murder charge. He spent 541 days in a French prison, accused of killing his roommate, Patrick, in Paris. To the public, he is a wealthy TikTok celebrity who escaped justice. To his fellow officers, he is a liability. In an attempt to rehabilitate his image, Aaron agrees to participate in a true crime reality show. The production crew follows his every move, but the cameras capture a new horror. Producer Morris Mackey is found in the station with his throat slit. Forensic evidence suggests he died 4 hours before the discovery. Aaron is immediately treated as a suspect. The investigation shifts when detectives recover a final video recorded by Morris minutes before his death. In the footage, Morris claims to have solved the original Paris murder. He states the truth was hidden in the logistics of Aaron's private jet. The evidence reveals that Rowan, Aaron's close friend, was using the aircraft's luggage hold to smuggle drugs. Patrick had discovered the operation and threatened to inform the authorities, leading Rowan to kill him and frame Aaron. Rowan murdered Morris to keep the smuggling ring a secret. Police locate Rowan on a golf course and present the evidence. Rowan attempts to flee in a golf cart but flips the vehicle and is apprehended. After 541 days of wrongful imprisonment and years of public hatred, Aaron Thorson is exonerated. The truth was not in the headlines, but in the flight manifests. Jonah initiates a cyber attack on the hospital network to secure a transplant heart for his wife. He deploys ransomware that encrypts the central server, seizing control of every connected medical device. His demand is absolute. The donor heart assigned to a teenage girl named Piper must be redirected to his wife immediately. The first phase of the attack triggers simultaneous alarms on monitors across multiple floors. Nurses scramble as patient vitals disappear from their screens. Jonah then escalates to the second phase, locking the entire database. Doctors lose access to patient histories, medication schedules, and surgical records. During the chaos, a critical system failure occurs. A patient dies when their life support equipment stops functioning. Facing a rising body count, hospital administration agrees to Jonah's terms. They begin prepping his wife for the transplant. Moments before the procedure, Piper initiates a video call from her hospital bed. She looks directly into the camera and tells Jonah and his wife that she forgives them. Jonah's wife hears the girl's words and refuses to go through with the surgery. She chooses to let Piper live. Meanwhile, police technicians trace the digital signal to Jonah's accomplices outside the building. They breach the location, arrest the hackers, and restore the hospital's systems. Officers take Jonah into custody as the surgical team rushes the heart to Piper's operating room. The girl receives the transplant and survives, while Jonah faces the legal consequences of his actions. Rory arrives at the hospital with a head injury. A doctor identifies signs of a concussion, but the parents refuse all medical tests. They claim the power of prayer is the only cure the boy needs and demand his immediate discharge. Officer Nyla Harper senses a forced narrative in their behavior. She officially takes the boy into protective custody, citing the Welfare and Institutions Code. The parents threaten legal action and retreat to the hallway. Harper requests a full background check via the Judicial Council records system. The results confirm her suspicion. There is no birth record, social security number, or adoption file for a child named Rory Kane. These people are not his parents. LAPD officers intercept the couple in the parking lot as they load their vehicle to flee. They are placed under arrest for kidnapping. The investigation reveals they abducted the boy 10 years ago when he was only 3. Harper returns to the boy's bedside to explain the reality of his life. She tells him his real name is Scott Reynolds. She shows him a digital photograph of his biological parents, Gerald and Dorothy, who have been searching for him for a decade. The boy looks at the faces of strangers who are his actual family. Harper stays in the room, providing a silent presence as the boy begins to process the fact that his entire upbringing was a lie. Gerald and Dorothy are already on their way to reclaim the son they lost 10 years ago. Rookie officer Aaron Thorson stands over a red Lamborghini Huracan. His training officer, Tim Bradford, suspects a mechanical failure. Thorson observes the driver, a man claiming he just returned from a factory tour in Rome. Thorson knows the Lamborghini factory is in Sant'Agata Bolognese. He also knows the owner of the local dealership, a family friend named Rita. Thorson makes one phone call to his private network. He bypasses the standard police database and confirms the driver is not the registered owner. The suspect attempts to flee, but is immediately detained. Thorson identifies the thief not through traditional detective work, but through his existing social status. The investigation moves to a crime scene involving a rare, custom-made sword. While other officers wait for forensic reports and fingerprint analysis, Thorson takes a photograph of the blade. He sends the image to his personal bladesmith, a specialist who creates weapons for high-budget films and elite collectors. Within seconds, the bladesmith replies with the exact name of the woman who purchased the sword. A process that typically takes weeks of bureaucratic paperwork is completed in under a minute. Thorson's sergeant confronts him about these results. He realizes Thorson's superpower is not superior deduction or physical prowess. It is his wealth. Thorson operates with the resource dominance of a state-sanctioned Batman, using private assets to achieve results that the department's budget cannot match. He does not follow the manual. He uses his bank account to bypass it. A suspect opens fire during a train robbery, wounding a railway officer in the abdomen. Larry Macer, a former cop dismissed for a firearm mishap, is the first responder. His former colleagues call him the Badger and treat his new role as a railway guard with contempt. They overlook the evidence, while Larry focuses on the fragments of a shattered vase. He identifies etched markings on the ceramic as IBAN codes. These international bank account numbers are the keys to a billionaire's hidden global assets. Larry returns to the precinct and uses his IT background to bypass traditional investigative hurdles. He tracks the movement of the billionaire's inheritance through encrypted financial networks. The data leads him back to the rail yard under the cover of night. The billionaire's heirs are engaged in a violent confrontation over the final piece of the code. Larry utilizes his knowledge of train schedules and track logic to navigate the dark yard. He anticipates the suspects' movements, cutting off their exit routes between rows of shipping containers. He corners the killer, a greedy descendant who has already shed blood for the fortune. Larry uses the yard's mechanical operations to trap the suspect, allowing Officer Lucy Chen to move in for the final arrest. The man once mocked as a failure has outmaneuvered a billionaire's killers and secured millions in stolen funds. He exits the scene with the suspects in handcuffs, proving that data is more lethal than a sidearm. Digital tracking hits a dead end. Simone stops looking at screens and starts asking questions. Her informant, Zeke, provides the missing link. The bomber suffers from sensory issues and possesses a specific craving. He eats crofetta, a rare Soviet-era candy bar manufactured with processed cow blood. This isn't a digital trail, it is a physical habit. Simone needs to find where this candy is sold. She reaches out to her father, who activates the Red Fellas, a grassroots network of Russian jazz musicians. They identify the only local source, a Russian deli located near the city aquarium. The target is now pinned to a map. Nolan and Simone move in. They find the bomber inside the aquarium, but the situation escalates instantly. A CIA hit squad enters the building. They are not there to assist, they are there to eliminate the bomber and anyone in their way. The professionals open fire with high-caliber weapons, turning the glass corridors into a kill zone. Outgunned and pinned down, Nolan and Simone use the aquarium's dark tunnels and tiered layout to their advantage. They maintain tactical discipline under heavy fire, maneuvering through the shadows to flank the assassins. They neutralize the hit squad and secure the bomber before the CIA can finish the job. A high-tech manhunt failed, but a rare Soviet snack led them straight to the target. Detective Wade Gray enters the CIA station to confront the agency about a terrorist suspect. He presents the fingerprints of Ilya Sokurov, but the database marks them as classified. The station chief moves the meeting into a skiff. a secure facility designed to block all outside surveillance. He dismisses the match as a default administrative action, refusing to cooperate. Outside, the police realize the CIA is stalling to bury the truth. Simone Clark and John Nolan decide to force the agency's hand. They know the NSA monitors specific keywords in real time. Nolan speaks the name of the secret operation, Enervo, into an unsecure cell phone. The keyword triggers an immediate tactical response. A CIA team intercepts their vehicle under a bridge and abducts their witness, Kate, at gunpoint. They claim national security and drive away, but Nolan successfully slips a mobile phone into Kate's pocket to track the convoy. Meanwhile, the forensic team runs a DNA sequence on a hair sample found at the crime scene. The results confirm a direct link between the bomber and the CIA. This is not a random terrorist attack, it is a failed black operation. Ilya Sokurov was a foreign asset recruited for Enervo, trained to destabilize cities, and then abandoned in a Russian prison. Now, he is using the agency's own tactics to retaliate. The CIA is not trying to catch a killer. They are trying to eliminate the evidence of their own corruption. The police hold the data, and the cleanup mission is officially exposed. Jonah works the valet stand at a high-end hotel, absorbing the insults of a demanding client. The pressure breaks. He strikes the man, empties the entire key cabinet, and flees in a stolen Porsche. He meets Monica, an actress who has just abandoned her film, set in a rage. The two form a partnership fueled by resentment and adrenaline. They begin a series of armed robberies, using the ClipTalk app to broadcast their actions in real time. They mock the police on camera, turning their crimes into a digital spectacle. The manhunt leads to a stone church where a wedding is underway. Jonah and Monica interrupt the service. Monica wears a wedding gown and carries a semi-automatic pistol. They hold the congregation hostage and force the priest to conduct a marriage ceremony for them at gunpoint. They exchange vows while sirens wail outside. As they finish their promises, the police breach the doors. A firefight breaks out in the sanctuary. Jonah is hit in the torso and falls. Officers swarm him, applying pressure to his wound while placing him under arrest. Monica uses the chaos to bolt toward a side exit, hoping to vanish into the streets. Her run is short. Detective Lopez cuts her off in a narrow corridor. Lopez disarms her and forces her to the ground. The metal cuffs click shut. The broadcast goes dark. The two lovers are separated by prison bars before their honeymoon can begin.